So welcome everybody to this Saturday afternoon allergy relief call. I want to thank you all for taking the time to come out. I believe it will be of value to you in some way, shape, or form. So first of all, I'll just ask the question. What inspired you to come on this call? And what type of takeaways would you like to leave with from this call? So just share maybe, a couple of seconds, maybe go around those who want to share, or you can put it in the chat if you choose to. What inspired you to come on the call and any takeaways that you hope to get from this call? Go ahead. Open mic. Just unmute yourself and go for it.
I actually invited a customer who was having allergy problems, but I see that she didn't make it. So that was my reason I wanted her to hear to get some information firsthand.
Okay, that's awesome. So we're going to record the call so that you can share it with her as well.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else like to share? Go ahead.
Well, one of the things that interested me about it is that a lot of times we will come in contact with people who do have allergies, and it's always a good thing to have some support, some supporting stories, or actual people who have experienced allergies, different allergies, and then what our product has done for them, in addition to other things some lifestyle changes that they have done. So it's always good to have those stories in our pocket.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Terry. Anybody else?
I have a couple of friends that have allergies. I've invited them, but haven't they're not on here. I remind them, but they're not here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna send them your recording whenever you post it, so they can watch it. Because I think this would be something good for them to hear.
Awesome.
And I really wanted to introduce them to Juice Plus. So I want them to hear other people's story
Yes, ma'am.
instead of my story and coming from me. So yeah.
Awesome. All right. I'm admitting 8 people now. My fault here. Awesome. So they may just be in the group. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Thank you all for coming on a call. I apologize if you are on hold waiting. Thank you for your patience. Are there any first time guests on the call? Okay.
I am
Oh,
Erlene Carter
I should
from Chicago.
welcome Erlene.
Thank you.
She's also a team member as well. I should rephrase that, not on the call, any guests. But thank you
I
all.
am also Gifty.
Christy, welcome. I saw
Thank you.
in another chat. Thank you for
And I am Lisa Scanlon from Connecticut.
Hi, Miss Lisa. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
for coming on. All right. Well, I was just asking people if they wanted to share, if they had something specific that they wanted to get from the call. All right. Well, just keep that in mind. I'll come back to that question. If you have any questions at the end, I plan to make time for question and answer as well. So I'm going to start out by saying I'm a registered nurse. I've been a nurse, give you a little snippet of my story, but I've been a nurse for over 30 years. And I have seen and heard some amazing stories, especially as it relates to allergies. I used to work on a triage line in which we had callers from the community and also after hours call for doctors' offices. And so they would call in with different issues, young and old. And we would have so many different calls from parents asking about allergies. What can I do to help my child from keep getting colds and symptoms every change of season, they go through different challenges, and some of them have to go into the hospital. So we had limited information that we could share with them. I'm so excited to say that I joined up, connected with a community of like-minded people who have given me resources so that I'm better able to educate and support people in various areas, not just for treatment. So, with that being said, I want to give my husband an opportunity to share his story. And he has an amazing story. And we have, for those who just came on the call, we have another amazing couple, and we also have another uh, amazing man who's going to share his story as well. But think about any questions and ask questions that you might have, and you can actually put them in the chat if you like, and then we will address them at the end. So again, thank you so much for coming on the call. And this is my amazing husband. I'll let him go ahead and take the mic.
Okay. I'd like to say hello to everyone that's on this Zoom call. My name is Otto Tucker, and I'll just share a little bit about my story. For years, I had to deal with having annual calls without fail. It always happened around at the end of December or at the beginning of January. I mean, like clockwork, every year, colds. And the colds would linger for weeks after I get the initial colds. It usually start off with a sore throat, and then I'll get to, being congested, uh, coughing, and just linger for weeks at a time. And then finally I get well. And bless my wife, she would find anything over the counter to give me. Take this, take that. I mean, she had it all lined up. We're gonna get you well.
Yeah, that's true.
But and I tell you, it was just a challenge just to get rid of the cold. But after learning about this amazing product, produce in a capsule, the fruits and the vegetables, once I became consistent with the capsules, I would say maybe several months, I started noticing a difference. And I would, along with healthier lifestyle changes, as well as eating more fruits and vegetables, I start to notice a change, a difference. I start to feel better. And also, I was so encouraged about the change in how I felt. It just made me realize that I had to do more than just eat one vegetable with my meal or one fruit with my breakfast. That was the thing that I used to do. It was one banana with my oatmeal, and then maybe green beans, whatever I had for dinner. But while I was on this journey, I realized that I need to eat more fruits and vegetables, and the Juice Plus capsules made that possible for me to get all the fruits and vegetables that I need to take in. And I call it my gap insurance, because, just trying to eat so many servings of fruits and vegetables, in a day, it's just impossible to do. But the capsules will definitely fill in for me. But my testimony is that I stopped getting colds, and I've been cold free since 2014. No longer, I mean, not even a sore throat, not even a runny nose. I mean, it's just amazing to me. And so for me, that is a big thing. I mean, not being able to, just being well and not be concerned about catching a cold every year. So again, amazing. I'm just thankful, really thankful and grateful. And with that, I'll turn it back over to my wife.
And I'm so thankful too, because I was trying everything, echinacea, nutty pots, anything I could get my hands on over the counter, just make sure I didn't double up too much. So I'm so thankful for Juice Plus powder produce in a capsule he's getting 30 different fruits and vegetables
Yes.
plus the protein shakes and the bars and now we even have a towel garden so we can grow our own. So
Yes.
I'm really excited about that. So next we'll have an amazing couple from Illinois. I'll let them go ahead and introduce themselves.
Hey guys,
Kristen, Katie.
thanks for being on the call. So our story starts probably about a decade ago. We've actually been consuming the powdered produce and the chewies for 8 years, but our journey really started 10 years before that. I am a registered nurse as well. I worked in a trauma burn surgical ICU in St. Louis, Missouri. That's where we're originally from. And I really knew as a busy mom, we had 3 kids at the time, we've got 5 now, that we were not getting enough fruits and vegetables. I knew that. We were your standard American family. And when my friend, praise the Lord, introduced us to this, and just the fact that my kids could get it for free because budget was a huge issue in those days. My husband was finishing up anesthesia school. And so we were on an extremely tight budget for a family of 5. It honestly seemed to me like a no-brainer. And honestly, it was literally the only thing that I could even imagine adding to our life because it was so simple. So that really stood out to me. And I just said, yes, I really believe it was the Holy Spirit. I think that when you're sick and tired and you don't feel good, that you can't be effective for the kingdom. And so I really believe that it was the Holy Spirit that shared this with us. I had a friend that introduced it to us and we said yes to get more fruits and vegetables in our diet. And I came home.
So, hey guys, I'm Chris. I'm also a nurse. As my wife mentioned, I went to anesthesia school, got my master's in nurse anesthesia. So I'm a CRNA. I love my job. And like she said, in years past, going through nursing school and then being a nurse in the ICU, I was sick, kind of like Otto. I just had a cold. It felt like a lingering perpetual cold. I'd get over one and then another one would happen. So that's a little piece of my story. Another piece of my story is real bad seasonal allergies. I'll call it an addiction to cetirizine or Zyrtec. I took it 365. I took it every single day in the morning with a multivitamin or whatever junk I was putting in my body at the time. And I just felt like I was dependent on it because I felt like if I didn't, I would get the itchy red eyes, the runny nose, the congestion, just felt awful. And so I just felt like, okay, well, at least I found something that worked. Well, then it kind of stopped working. And then they did the Flonase thing, became over the counter. And so I did Flonase whenever I had a flare up of those symptoms. And, you know, I thought that's the way it is. Some people have to deal with allergies and I'm one of those people. I also had really bad reaction to pet dander, cats really specifically, somewhat dog too. But I couldn't be around cats in a house with cats in it. I'd be within 30 minutes, I'd be wheezing. Within an hour or two, I would have to leave because I would have trouble breathing. And so it was pretty severe. I used inhalers whenever that occurred. My brother had asthma, so I just used his. So I was in anesthesia school. She found this produce powder, brought it home, and I've always been the finance guy. And so I said, I don't know how we're going to do this. To me, it's not feasible. It's not possible. You know, it's great that the kids get it for free, but then we still had to pay for her and I. And with the budget that we were on and me taking out loans to go through school, it didn't seem like the right thing to do. And she said, well, it's just food, so we'll figure out how to take it out of the grocery budget. And I said, okay, I can't argue with that. If you can make that happen, we'll take it out of the grocery budget and we'll do it. And begrudgingly, I took it. She made sure I took it every day. And after taking it about a year, she said, you need to stop taking that cetirizine. I found an article that said it'll cause hypertension, high blood pressure. And then also there's a loose maybe correlation with some sort of brain stuff. I don't want to quote anything or misquote anything. But anyways, long-term of anything is probably not a good thing if it's a man-made manufactured drug. So I said, all right, well, I'll give it a shot. I'll stop, see what happens. I guarantee you I'm going to flare up and it's going to be miserable. Well, I didn't. And I don't take it anymore. And I haven't for, like she said, the 8 years that we've been on it. My daughters love cats. And I pushed back and said no for years and years and years because of my allergy.
Even outdoor cats.
Even outdoors, I said no. So even I finally gave in and I said, all right, you guys can get a cat, but it has to stay outside. Well, they came home with 2. And I don't know if you guys know what cats do, but they multiply. So now we have 5. And they're outside, but what they know I'm allergic, so they love me. They rub up on me. If I'm sitting outside, they jump up on my lap. I can pet cats. My dad has cats. I can go to his house without issues now. I mean, it's like days at my dad's house, and I'll be like, I kind of feel like maybe I'm a little stuffy, but nothing like what it was. And really, I mean, the only thing I can attribute it to is Juice Plus. And I'm, again, not claiming it, but it is so strongly correlated in my mind that my belief is that's what healed my allergies. And so that's my story. I think that's it. I think I've rambled long enough.
Good.
No, that was
good.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you for sharing that story. Because you talk about limitations in your life, how that you can be freer now to spend time with your family and have more choices. That's amazing. That's incredible. So that's more freedom. Go on, and because I don't want to spend up all of you all day because we all have some amazing stories. But next we'll have Terry Spencer. Thank you for sharing, Chris and Katie. Terry, take it away.
Thanks, Wendy. As Wendy said, my name is Terry Spencer, and my story is not so much on the allergy side, but just like Otto and Chris, it had to do with seasonal colds. So I was introduced to the plant powder produce back in 2014, kind of around the same time that you guys started, Wendy and Otto. And but let me back up for a second here, is because I just recently retired as a police officer, and as you first responders can attest to, and Otto, I was waiting to hear your story about the police work too, is that we come in contact with a lot of people who have certain whether it's diseases or whether it's allergies or whether it's something else, that we can be affected by it too as well. And so during that time, I found myself having these seasonal colds, just like clockwork, just like Otto said, clockwork. Every season, I knew I was going to be getting a cold. And so a friend of mine had a couple that was coming by to introduce this thing called the tower garden, or this vertical garden. And I thought it was an interesting thing. And so I did some research on it and found out that I might as well just get that. And then after getting that, they told me about the fruits and vegetables in capsules. And I knew I wasn't getting enough fruits and vegetables into my body, especially working 10 to 12-hour shifts in police work. Well, I wasn't eating as properly as I should either. And so I thought, well, I might as well do it because it's fruits and vegetables in a capsule. It's very convenient. So I started taking it. And probably I started taking that maybe in February. And I think probably around September, October timeframe, by the time that I knew my next cold was going to come on, well, I didn't have my summer cold and I didn't get my winter cold. So I was thinking, well, maybe there's something to this. And the only thing I changed was adding that to my diet, my regimen. And so having that in my system, and also the fact that my wife knew about it years before, but just didn't tell me about it. You know, she was like, if somebody can put fruits and vegetables in the capsule, she'll take it because she's always taking medication. And so when we looked at it, we're like, this is awesome. This is awesome that everybody needs to know about this. And so I made it a point to, become a partner and share what I know and what I've experienced and what I learned about the produce powders. And so I'm thankful for the friend that introduced us to it. And, we'll never stop taking it. Back to you, Wendy.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank
Yeah.
you so much, Terry, for sharing that. And you made a good point about first responders
Yeah.
or being exposures. I mean, especially now, I mean, in the season that we're in through this pandemic, uh, we don't we can't say that Juice Plus or the powder produce and capsules, the company that we're talking about, if you're here for the first time, that has found a way to get 30 different fruits and vegetables to a capsule where we can actually just take it by mouth, or we can just put it in our smoothies, and we can get the array, the variety of fruits and vegetables that our body needs. With the synergy, it helps to build our immune system.
Yes.
So building our immune system helps us to fight off any diseases. So it gives the body what it needs to help fight. And so that's the main thing. It's not a cure-all in itself, but combined with this amazing community that we're in, we have other resources in which we can link arms together and help us to be stronger, healthier, so that we can have more health legacies.
Yes.
And be able to fight off diseases. So with this pandemic, it gives me much a greater peace of mind. I have a 93-year-old dad, and he actually chews on the chewables. And we have our tower garden where we can grow our own fruits and vegetables at home without dirt inside or outside the home. My husband uses his protein shakes as a snack. I use mine as a meal replacement. And then I add some fruits and veggies in there. And so,
Yeah.
hey, we get an array of colors. So we're adding strength so that our body can fight off diseases. So with that, I want to give anyone in the audience, especially guests, an opportunity to ask questions. So we have some amazing, I'm a nurse, but we have another nurse, but you don't have to be, we have 3 nurses actually, but you don't have to be a nurse even to share. We have those who are partners in this amazing community, and we have joined together. So are there any guests on the call? We really appreciate you coming on, and I want to make sure that you have the opportunity to get your questions answered. And if you're a little shy and you want to just put it in the chat, that's okay. But I want to give the guests first opportunity to ask any questions. This is a safe place.
Yes.
Okay. If there aren't any guests, are there any partners that would like to ask questions of those who have shared their testimony? This will be recorded, so if you wanted to get the recording and you have somebody in mind that you think might want a question answered, you can ask for them. Right.
I have a question for Chris.
Okay.
With your allergies, you said it was about a year. What was one of the biggest things that you noticed or didn't notice didn't happen over that period of time?
Well,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
it's funny, Terry, because again, I asked Katie just recently, and the timeline she told me, because it happened so gradual that, and life is so busy and going on, and there's all this, that, and the other, and I didn't even notice the change until she's like, you got to stop taking that cetirizine. It's not good for you. And I was convinced, in my mind, I was convinced that I had to take it. Otherwise I'd have allergic symptoms and I'd be miserable. But during that time, I mean, I'm not sure whether it was 6 months, 8 months, 10 months. I don't know when, maybe the symptoms totally stopped, even though I was still taking the Zyrtec. But I think in my mind, I was contributing it to that medicine. But it's the neat thing about the produce powder, and I think what helps me understand it and what I like to tell people is there's macronutrients, proteins, carbs, and fats, and then there's micronutrients. And this is that micronutrients that the body needs. And I think that's what my body was missing out on. And it, pieced together the building blocks, whatever it needed to make sure that, like Wendy said, that the immune system is doing what it should do, fighting what it needs to fight and not fighting what it doesn't need to fight, which basically is allergies. And so that's a long-winded answer to your question. I'm not really sure. It just kind of gradually happened.
Well, I can speak a little bit. I mean, we started in October of 2012, and it was, the beginning of cold and flu season. And he literally had a sore throat from September to May, no joke. So it was over those first 4 months, then you get your next, because it comes in 4 months supply, because your blood cells recycle themselves every 120 days. So that's why, because it's not a quick fix. It's one simple change. After that time, that was the first year that he had never had a cold or a flu or a sore throat. So I think that, who knows, maybe his gut had healed before then. But yeah, we hadn't thought about but he had a lot of changes the first 4 months, just in his overall health.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because like I had mentioned, it just kind of went by gradually. You didn't recognize it until you thought about it.
Exactly.
So for me, like I said, it wasn't until the fall that I realized I didn't have my summer cold. So thanks for answering that.
Well, and for all of you guys on here, I do want you to go away with, our family started on powdered produce because we need more fruits and vegetables. This is not a guarantee that you're going to miraculously heal or that you're never going to get a cold, but your bodies need fruits and vegetables. And what Wendy's body needs out of it is going to be different than what my body needs, or Chris's body, or Terry's body. We could go on and on and on about things in our life the last 8 years that have been healed over time. Our taste buds have changed, stuff like that. So, keeping it simple, that it's just whole food. Like, it's a no-brainer. It was a no-brainer to me and my family, my kids, and it just isn't.
Excellent. Excellent. I love it. I love it. This conversation. Yes. I don't need to put on a video. I believe that's a wrap, unless anybody else has any other questions. Any burning questions, especially our guests? There's a hand raised. Let's see. No, that's mine. Okay. Any other questions? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I do appreciate you all. Special thanks to those that gave their testimony, Chris and Katie and Terry and my hubby. Thank you all. And thank you all for coming on. If you're a guest and you're just being quiet, thank you. We love you. And if you're invited on this call by somebody else, please take the time to go back to them. Ask any questions you might think of later. They will find the answers for you. And and we'll just close it out. Yes. You all have a blessed Saturday. And if you're interested in the Tower Garden call, that's coming up at 8:00 p.m. Eastern time, right after this, shortly, about 25 minutes or so. All right. Again, thank you all for coming on the call. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you. It was wonderful. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you,
Thank
Wendy.
you.
Okay, wait. Whoa. Okay, you're welcome. Stop.